Hi, I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. Thanks for joining me for another video. I just finished up a series on Canteen kits, and I thought while I was going over that I would review a couple of the stoves that I like to use. Now, in the initial Canteen series, I covered the Canteen cup and stove, but just a word of caution. I was purchasing my sets and I bought this particular stove, which if you look at them, they look very similar. But this stove will not fit my cup. The top won't go on there, so the only way you could cook on it is crossways. It's not efficient, and the cup does not sit on it very stable. So watch that. Make sure when you buy your kit, you have your components and you can check and make sure that they fit together well. Now, just in a quick review, the Canteen, the small little stove that you see most often, these work very well. The cup simply sits on top. You put your fuel down here, light it, put the cup in. The handles keep it from going down too far. The advantages of this system is it is very light. The disadvantage is that it sticks to the cup sometimes while you're cooking. Another option for that are some of these small canisters of gel fuel. I bought this one not too long ago, and it has a nice can with a resealable top, and the resealable top is important because you can get several burns out of these. But it comes with a little stove top that sits on top of the can, and that works very well. You can use most any type of a GSI cup or any type of a metal can over top of this. Very efficient. You may need to use a little bit of a wind block around it sometimes, but what I like about these is when you're done with it, you can knock it off of the can, snuff it out, and then simply reseal it, and you've got fuel for another fire. One more option are these exit type stoves. They open up. There's a place on the inside that you can actually store your fuel. You can adjust the top, push it down in the ground a little bit, and it will stay there. And you can put just about any cup that you want or small pot on top of this and cook. And I like these a lot, simply because it folds down and your fuel is inside, and it's kind of a one-shot deal. I use either the gel packets, the exit, or the military fuel trioxane in those, and they all work very well. I will say that the small bars will not boil a Canteen cup of water. It'll heat it up, but it won't bring it to a boil. I use these small ones mostly as a way of starting fires because they'll take a spark and they burn extremely hot, and you can get even marginal tender burning with those. The full-size bars will bring that water temperature up to the point that you can clean water with it, or I shouldn't say clean it, but you can bring it to a boil. You can cook with it, and it's definitely enough for a hot beverage. The other stove that I'd like to review or tell you about is the wet fire stove. This is a really cool stove when you want something that's extremely lightweight. And I have one of these that I've just used it over and over again. I've had absolutely no problems with it at all. This is made by Wet Fire. It's a little titanium stove, and you just unfold it. And it gives you a nice base. Your round cups and cans really work nice on this. And it comes with the Wet Fire tender. I don't use the Wet Fire tender because I find that it sits the bottom of the cups quite a bit, and I don't think it burns quite as hot as some of the other fuels that are out there. But it fits the exit tab perfectly, and once again, it sits close enough that you can get good boilage out of your water with a single cube. A little tip with this is when you pull the foil off of the back of the fuel, if you lay that in the bottom of your stove and then place your fuel on top of it, it keeps the little stove from getting messed up. There is a little bit of a residue with some of these fuels. The trioxane bar is a little bit big but you can arrange the feet and set it on there and it will work. So multiple fuels and no issues whatsoever. You can even use your alcohol with these as long as you have a container that's a little bit bigger than the tray here to put your alcohol in. I have used it by just putting the alcohol in the little tray and burning it and adding to it, but that's really not an efficient way to do it. The bottom of a can or something that's cut off that can hold that fuel and then set it on top of this little tray here works out really well. But the Epsit is just ideal for this thing. And I just fold mine up and it comes in this little Ziploc bag. I keep the wet fire because I do like it as a tinder. I like the idea of something that will burn wet. And 3 of these Epsit tabs will fit right in this little Ziploc bag. And they're extremely efficient. It does take a little bit of an effort to get them lit, but once they're burning, I mean, you're good to go. Little piece of aluminum foil with any of these stoves as far as creating a wind block or maybe a piece to put over top of your cup will help you out a lot. And I have just found that the solid fuels, even though they're a little bit more expensive, as far as shelf life and durability and not being a big mess, they work really well. And then you can buy the sterno type fuels just about anywhere in the cans as long as you've got a little platform to put on them. They work well. The foldable sterno stoves, they work, but I just find it getting it closer to the heat source, it just seems to be more efficient. You get a better use out of your fuel, and that's what's important when you're out. Okay, that's just a little wrap up with some of the stoves that I use with some of my canteens. I hope you enjoyed this series. I certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. God bless.